Answer a question that got asked in the group, and it was a good question. So I feel like I should answer it for everybody so everyone benefits. Thank you to Lee for asking this question. So you might be wondering, what did she ask? Well, she said this: Sheri, in one of the blog posts, you list things we should do for a successful business. One of them discusses being a seller of travel. I'm looking at growing my business beyond my multi-day classes held at my storefront. I want to use retreat centers, lodges, etc. I will be handling the registration, but not transportation. In reviewing seller of travel laws, it seems I should be using a travel agent or become one. I know you offer the travel agent service in your business. At what point does it make sense to become your own agency? You must have hit that point early on. Can you discuss what led you to create your own agency? Thank you. Well, thank you again, Lee, for asking this question. So let me do the best I can to answer this. First of all, in the United States, there are 5 states that have seller of travel law that are strict. Canada also has strict seller of law in Ontario. In fact, I would consider that the strictest in the world. So if you are in Ontario and you're running a retreat, I would not do that. I would not do that. You can be caught and fined, and they are serious about it. They will shut you down. So you should be running your retreat through a travel company that specifically does this. And let me explain what I mean by that. Many travel agencies will book travel for you, but they're not going to collect the funds for your trip. Okay? My travel agency does that. What we do is we collect the money because we are the seller of travel, not you. We are hiring you to lead the tour. And so we pay you as an independent contractor. You cannot take money as a seller of travel unless you're legally a seller of travel. So then in the United States, if you live in a state that doesn't have seller of travel law, but you want to sell to somebody who is in one of those states like California, Washington, Florida, Iowa, or Hawaii, you really are not supposed to be selling it to them because you are not a foreign corporation selling travel in that state. So when I first started my business back in 2003, teaching the 4 agreements, I decided that for my purposes, it would be well worth it for me to, right from the get-go, become a seller of travel. I did that because I am a bit of a legal freak. Maybe it's from being a physician. I don't like the idea of being sued and getting in trouble. So I decided the best thing that I could possibly do is become a seller of travel. So I did that right away. My corporation is in Florida, so it's one of those 5 states. And I figured I'll just bite the bullet and do it. Now, if you're going to do 1 retreat a year, is it worth becoming a seller of travel? Honestly, my answer to that would be no, because you have to pay fees in each of the states. In Florida, at least for the first 5 years, in Washington and in California, you'll probably want to get a bond because they're going to require that. Although in California, you can have a special escrow account, but it's a pain to have accounts in other states. So I just opted for the bond. But the thing is, the fees add up. And unless you're doing a lot of travel, it doesn't really make sense because you're going to have to pay those fees every year. So if you're only doing 1 retreat, you would probably pay the same amount of money if you were in the US and you wanted to be legal in those 5 states as you would to have a travel company help you and take the money for your retreat. So to me, it doesn't really make sense. I was doing about 5 retreats a year back then. So it absolutely made sense. Plus, back then in 2003, there wasn't even anybody, any travel agency that I found that would do that for me. So that was an issue. So hopefully this helps make it a little clearer. But for most of you that are doing one retreat a year, I would do it through a company like ours. Like, for example, if you run your trip through our company, we will even, you're under our insurance. So that is a big help too, as far as insuring your retreat. And that makes a big difference. And, it just helps with the legal coverage. So hopefully this little video helps make that clearer, and make sure you're legal, make sure you're protected. You have to have really solid legal forms. That is really important, and good insurance on top of it. But do I think you'll get caught if you run your own retreat in the US? Probably not, but you are still breaking the law. So as an educator, I need to tell you what the truth is. What you do with that truth is up to you, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And I had fun sharing this with all of you. And let me know below if this was helpful to you or not helpful to you or whatever. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.